The warm California breeze drifted across the expansive Beverly Hills estate, where 10-year-old Lily Hart sat quietly in her wheelchair, her small fingers tracing the polished armrest as if searching for strength. It had been nearly a year since the accident took her ability to walk, and each day felt heavier than the one before. Her mother, Olivia Hart, a billionaire with a reputation for power and perfection, watched from the balcony with hidden worry. No amount of wealth specialists or private clinics had brought Lily progress. Behind the mansion, engines roared faintly as luxury cars waited for routine maintenance, adding to Olivia's silent frustration. Lily tried to move her chair toward the garden, but the wheel stuck again, jerking sharply and nearly tipping. She clenched the armrest, her tiny face tightening in frustration. The broken stabilizer bar had caused constant imbalance, yet every expert Olivia hired insisted the chair was fine. Feeling helpless, Lily let out a soft sigh and leaned back, staring at the bright California sky. Olivia rushed down the steps, trying to mask her panic with firmness. "We'll get it fixed, sweetheart," she whispered, though she didn't believe it anymore. Every promise felt emptier as days passed with no improvement. Outside the gated driveway, Ethan Cooper, a humble mechanic from a small neighborhood garage, parked his old, rusted pickup truck. He had been requested to service one of Olivia's luxury SUVs, an intimidating call for someone used to repairing worn engines, not millionaire machines. When the guard finally allowed him in, Ethan stepped out with quiet confidence and a respectful nod. His clothes carried the scent of oil and long workdays, his hands rough from years of labor. He didn't expect to see a struggling child in a broken wheelchair at a billionaire's home. As Ethan walked toward the garage area, he noticed Lily's chair wobbled dangerously as she tried to turn. Without thinking, his instincts pulled him forward. "Be careful," he said softly as he crouched beside her. Olivia immediately stiffened, confused why a mechanic approached her daughter. Ethan gently examined the stuck wheel, moving with unexpected tenderness. "Mind if I take a look?" he asked Lily. Directly. She nodded shyly, curious about the stranger who seemed more attentive than the specialists she had met. Olivia hesitated but allowed him, though. Suspicion lingered in her eyes. Ethan studied the chair with an intensity that surprised Olivia. He noticed the stabilizer bar was misaligned, the shock absorbers were worn, and the weight balance was completely off, issues even expensive professionals failed to mention. "Whoever fixed this last didn't pay attention," he murmured. Olivia's brows tightened. She had spent thousands on experts who gave her empty reassurances. Ethan reached into his toolbox and pulled out basic tools that looked older than the mansion itself. Yet his hands moved with purpose. Lily watched him with growing interest, sensing something trustworthy in the way he handled her fragile chair. Olivia crossed her arms, observing him with a mix of doubt and hope she didn't want to admit. "Are you sure you know what you're doing?" she questioned sharply. Ethan didn't snap back or get offended. Instead, he looked up calmly. "Ma'am, I fix things for a living. Big things, small things. If something's broken, it deserves to be fixed right." His voice carried a sincerity Olivia hadn't heard from any specialist. She looked at Lily, who nodded encouragingly. Ethan's focus returned to the chair as he tightened bolts, tested tension, adjusted angles, and realigned supports with precision that felt almost instinctive. Minutes turned into nearly an hour as Ethan carefully inspected every inch. He removed a loose brace, replaced it with a small welded piece from his truck, and adjusted the chair's structure until it felt balanced. Lily could feel the difference as she sat. Straighter, shocks-absorbing movement more smoothly. Ethan placed his hand lightly on the handle. "All right, try pushing forward now," he suggested gently. Lily hesitated, then pressed the wheels. For the first time in months, the chair glided smoothly without shaking or resistance. Her eyes widened, sparkling with excitement she thought she'd lost forever. Olivia's breath caught as she saw her daughter moving freely. How did you do that?" she whispered. Ethan wiped his hands on his worn jeans and shrugged humbly. "Just fixed what everyone else overlooked." Lily's smile grew, and for a moment hope warmed the air between them. Olivia stared at Ethan with a mix of disbelief and gratitude she wasn't ready to voice yet. Her world was built on perfection and credentials, not on a random mechanic with simple tools. And yet, he had helped her daughter more in 1 hour than specialists had in a year. Lily wheeled forward again, laughing softly as she felt control returning to her movements. Ethan stepped back, satisfied. The chair was working against her, not with her, he explained. Olivia knelt beside Lily, touching the chair with renewed amazement. Something inside her shifted, an unfamiliar softness breaking through her guarded exterior. She looked up at Ethan, her voice quieter. "Thank you. I didn't expect—" He shook his head gently. "No need to thank me. I just couldn't walk past someone needing help." Olivia held her daughter close, unaware that this small moment was only the beginning of a miracle neither of them had dared to imagine. Ethan stood up after adjusting the chair, but something in Lily's posture caught his attention. When she leaned forward, her legs twitched, tiny, involuntary, almost invisible movements, but enough to make Ethan pause. Olivia was too overwhelmed to notice, but Ethan's trained eyes, used to catching even the smallest mechanical shifts, recognized it. Instantly, he gently lowered himself to Lily's level again. "Did your legs always do that?" he asked softly. Lily shook her head slowly. "No, not like that." Ethan lifted the foot support slightly, repositioned the straps with care, and asked Lily to shift her weight again, watching closely. Olivia stepped forward, nervous. "What are you doing?" Her voice carried a mixture of fear and curiosity, as if she didn't want to hope but couldn't stop herself. Ethan didn't look up, focused entirely on Lily. "Just checking something," he said quietly. Lily moved again, and this time the twitch was stronger, more controlled. Olivia gasped, her hand covering her mouth. "She hasn't moved her legs like that in months," she whispered. Ethan nodded slowly. "Maybe the wrong chair alignment kept her muscles from responding. It might not be just the wheelchair, it might be her body trying to fight back." Lily looked between them with wide eyes. "Does that mean I can walk again?" The question hit Olivia like a shockwave. She had spent fortunes on doctors who said movement would take years, if it happened at all. Ethan didn't make false promises. "I don't know," he said gently, "but we can try something small." He stood and moved behind her, adjusting the support bar once more, ensuring the chair wouldn't slip. Then he walked around in front of Lily and extended his hands. "Hold on to me," he said softly. His voice carried confidence, not force, giving Lily the courage she desperately needed. Lily placed her small hands in his. Olivia stiffened, fear twisting inside her. "Wait, what if she falls? What if she gets hurt?" Ethan met her eyes for a brief moment. "I won't let her fall." Something in his voice made Olivia go still, an honesty she couldn't argue with. Lily took a breath, pushing herself upward with Ethan's support. At first, her legs shook violently, unable to bear her weight, but Ethan held her steady, guiding her movements. "Carefully. Good, that's it. Just a little pressure," he encouraged. Lily's feet pressed against the ground with trembling determination, as if remembering something long forgotten. Olivia's heart pounded as she watched her daughter struggle to stand. This scene had played in her dreams countless times, always ending with disappointment. But now Lily's legs were responding, slow but alive. Ethan shifted his hold, strengthening his support, but letting Lily attempt to bear more weight. Her breath trembled, sweat formed on her temple, and her fingers tightened around Ethan's hands. "I can't," she whispered fearfully. Ethan shook his head gently. "You already are. Just try one. More push." Olivia felt tears sting her eyes. No therapist, no specialist, no expensive expert had ever spoken with this kind of faith. With a shaky breath, Lily tried again. Her right foot slid forward an inch, just an inch, but enough to make Olivia choke. Back a cry, Ethan's eyes softened. "That's a step," he said. "A real one." Lily looked down, unable to believe what she saw. Her lips trembled. "Mom, I moved." Olivia knelt quickly, tears spilling freely. "Yes, baby, you did." She touched Lily's leg gently, her hands shaking. The disbelief on her face slowly grew into hope, a fragile hope she hadn't felt in months. Ethan stepped back slightly, giving mother and daughter space while still keeping Lily balanced. Olivia looked up at him, desperate. "What did you do? How is this happening?" Ethan shook his head. "I didn't heal her. I just removed what was holding her back. Her body did the rest." Olivia stared at him with a mixture of awe and confusion. "But all the specialists, all the treatments," Ethan responded quietly. "Sometimes people look for big solutions and miss the small ones." Lily took another shaky breath and tried again, this time moving her foot a little farther before her legs weakened. Ethan caught her immediately, lifting her gently. "Easy, that's enough for today," he said softly. He carried her carefully and placed her back in the chair. Lily was smiling, a tired, emotional smile, but the brightest Olivia had seen since before the accident. Olivia wiped her tears, trying to regain control of her voice. "Ethan, you gave her something no one else could." He shook his head. Again, uncomfortable with praise, she had it in her all along. Olivia stepped closer, realizing something unexpected. This humble mechanic had done more in an hour than her wealth had accomplished in a year. "Please, stay a little longer," she said quietly. "I want to understand what else you saw and what else might help." Ethan nodded respectfully. "Of course." As he examined the chair again, Olivia stood behind Lily, her hands resting gently on her daughter's shoulders. For the first time in months, the mansion felt warm again, not because of its expensive lights or perfect architecture, but because hope had stepped inside, carried by a man who owned nothing but good hands, a steady heart, and the courage to care. Lily looked up at her mother and whispered, "Mom, I felt it. I really felt it." Olivia bent down, pressing her forehead against her. "Your daughters, and you will again, sweetheart, I promise." The evening sun lowered behind the Beverly hills, casting warm, golden light across the mansion as Ethan continued inspecting the wheelchair. Lily watched him with eager eyes, still breathing hard from her earlier attempt to stand. Olivia stood close behind her, arms folded, not out of doubt anymore, but out of protection. For the first time in months, the air around them felt different. Not heavy, not hopeless. Ethan touched the stabilizer bar one last time, tightening the bolts carefully before stepping back to face Lily. "If you're not too tired," he said gently, "we can try again. Only if you want." Lily nodded almost instantly. "I want to." Her small voice carried more determination than fear. Olivia moved. Closer, her heart pounding with a strange mixture of excitement and anxiety. She knelt beside her daughter. "If anything hurts, you stop immediately," she whispered. Lily squeezed her mother's hand. "I'm okay." Ethan positioned himself in front of her, extending his hands just like before. Lily placed her trembling hands in his, and Ethan nodded reassuringly. "All right, slow and steady, I've got you." He braced her carefully and helped her lift from the chair, guiding her weight just enough to keep her steady without doing the work for her. Lily's legs shook, but Ethan felt more strength in them than before. She pressed her feet into the floor, pushing herself upward until she stood fully balanced. Olivia's breath trembled as she watched, tears already building again. Lily's eyes shone with hope she'd never imagined she'd feel. "Okay," Ethan said softly. "Let's try moving your right foot again." Lily focused, gripping his hands tightly. Her foot slid forward, steadier this time, not just a twitch but a conscious push. Olivia gasped audibly, covering her mouth as tears streamed down her cheeks. Ethan's voice stayed calm and warm. "That's amazing, Lily. Now try the other." This time Lily leaned forward slightly, applying pressure into her left leg. It wobbled, nearly collapsing. But Ethan caught her immediately, steadying her, waist with firm hands. "You're doing good. Don't rush. Feel the ground," he said. Lily took a shaky breath and tried again. Her foot moved, barely, but enough to matter, enough to spark something powerful in Olivia's chest. She fell to her knees, unable to hold back her emotions anymore. "Oh my God, Lily, you're walking," she cried, voice breaking completely. Lily looked down at her legs, astonished. "Mom, I did it!" Ethan smiled softly, humbled by the moment unfolding right before him. Olivia moved closer, wiping her tears wildly as if afraid she'd miss a second of her daughter's miracle. Lily leaned slightly toward her mother while still holding Ethan's hands. Olivia reached out and held her daughter's trembling arm. "You're incredible," she whispered. "I'm so proud of you." Lily's voice cracked with joy. "I thought I'd never stand again." Ethan's voice came gently from behind them. "Sometimes the body remembers, even when the mind forgets." He helped Lily take another small step before lowering her back into the wheelchair with care. Her legs trembled from exhaustion, but her smile didn't fade for a second. Ethan crouched beside her, checking her legs carefully, making sure she hadn't strained anything. "Your muscles are weak, but they're trying," he explained. "If you practice slowly, you might regain more movement." Olivia looked at him with disbelief, mixed with immense gratitude. Why didn't any of the specialists see this? Ethan shrugged, his eyes soft. "Sometimes people expect big problems, so they miss small signs." Olivia inhaled deeply, feeling a shift inside. An uncomfortable realization about the world she lived in. "Ethan," she said quietly, "you came here to fix a car, and instead you fixed everything." Lily reached out and grabbed Ethan's hand. "Thank you," she said, her voice trembling. Ethan's eyes softened as he looked at her. "You're the one who did the hard part." Olivia stood, wiping her tears. "I want to do this right," she said firmly. "Ethan, would you help her again tomorrow, and maybe the day after? I'll pay you whatever you want, anything." Ethan shook his head before she even finished. "You don't owe me anything, but yes, I'll come. Not for money, for her." Olivia's heart tightened, humbled by his sincerity. She hadn't met many people who refused her money, especially not to help. As the sun fully dipped below the horizon, warm lights from the mansion illuminated the driveway. The moment felt almost unreal, like time had slowed to let them breathe in the miracle. Olivia bent down and wrapped her arms around Lily tightly. Lily giggled, exhausted, but glowing with joy. Ethan stepped back, watching them with quiet pride. He picked up his toolbox, ready to leave, but Olivia called out gently, "Ethan?" He turned. "You changed our lives today." Ethan nodded with a faint, humble smile. "Just glad I could help." Olivia watched him walk toward his old truck, realizing something she never expected. Sometimes the greatest miracles come from the humblest hands. Lily lifted her head from her mother's shoulder, watching Ethan's figure disappearing into the driveway. "Mom, can he come every day?" Olivia kissed her forehead. "As long as he's willing, sweetheart." She looked back at Ethan one last time before he drove away, understanding that her world, built on wealth, power, and perfection, had been shaken in the best possible way by a mechanic with a heart bigger than anything money could buy. In the silence of the night, as she carried Lily back inside, Olivia whispered a prayer of gratitude she hadn't spoken in years, for hope, for strength, and for a miracle delivered by unexpected hands.